Good morning, it's November 22nd, and this is to my liberal friends. The future of both the Republican and Democratic Party are on the line for the next 5 years, and both of them should be paying attention. But the real pressure is on the Democrats. They continue to allow themselves to be guided by the ultra-progressives in their party, and the results are not panning out the way they thought. Focusing on things like climate change, DEI, increased government spending, and more government control of the lives of people is starting to backfire on them, but they don't seem to know how to reverse the trend. There's a movement of the population that signals bad news for Democrats. After the 2020 census, 5 states gained 1 House seat: Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon. And Texas gained 2. 7 states lost a House seat: California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Now, being honest, I never thought I would see the day when California would lose a congressional seat. And I can understand those in the Midwest where the winters are harsh, and so people have been moving south and west. But if you look at what are considered blue states, you see some disturbing numbers for Democrats. States that voted for Kamala Harris this year are set to lose 12 seats in the House of Representatives, an equal number of presidential electors after 2030, according to 2 groups extemporaneously look at the Census Bureau data. California is on track to lose 4 members of Congress, and that means 4 electoral votes. New York will lose 3, Illinois 2, while Oregon, Minnesota, and Rhode Island are each going to be down 1. Solidly Republican states will gain most of the seats, with Texas picking up 4 congressional seats and electoral votes, Florida acquiring 3, and Idaho, Utah, and Tennessee each adding 1. And those up in the Democratic states are losing 12 seats, and Republican states are picking up 10. 2 battleground states, Arizona and North Carolina, are projected to each pick up an additional seat. And it should be noted that Trump won both of these states, as well as all the others adding seats in Congress. So what does this mean if it comes true in the 2030 census? In an era where control of Congress depends on razor-thin and sometimes single-digit margins, the net loss of 12 seats from reliably Democratic states and the Republican states' gains will give the GOP an edge in the House, even if redistricting removes some red congressional seats in blue states and adds some blue seats in red states. At the presidential level, the effect is like flipping a mid-sized deep blue state to the GOP. The 12 electoral college votes Democratic states are losing equal the electoral college representation of Washington state today. And Democrats still don't understand why people are fleeing their states. Looking at California, where it was once thought everyone wanted to live, the high taxes and overbearing regulatory state is forcing people to consider their options, and they're voting with their feet, or should I say with their moving vans. Couple this with the knowledge that the national birth rate is steadily declining, and it's more bad news for Democrats. Demographers at Cornell's University Brooks School of Public Policy estimate the state of New York could lose 2 million people, 13% of the present head count by 2050. Conservative estimates suggest a population decrease of 1 million people by 2050, but we think it's even greater decline is more likely, and that's according to Jan Fink, the lead analyst of the Brooks School program. Now, you might think, or begin to see why so many Democrats and progressive liberals wanted to open the southern border. They've been offering these migrants a myriad of government benefits, and they're counting on them becoming supporters. And that's why so many Democrats talk about pathways to citizenship for all these illegal immigrants. They can read the same studies that I can, and they're looking for ways to bolster their voting levels. They also know that the census counts every person in a state, not just U.S. citizens. If you're here illegally, the Census Bureau will seek to count you. The problem with this method is that the vast majority of illegals try to avoid being identified in any manner. A significant number work off the books for unscrupulous employers, thus allowing the employer to avoid payroll taxes. This phenomenon is one of the reasons Donald Trump did so well with the Hispanic vote. It's a fact of life that many of the jobs these illegal immigrants are seeking and taking are ones held by Hispanic men and women who are in fact, U.S. citizens. The same could be said for many in the black community. When you look at all these facts, you get a better understanding of why Democrats should be very worried about their long-term future in elections. Voters in the past election voted for less immigration and secure borders. That means New York, California, and Illinois will have to find a way to keep their residents and perhaps entice others to move to their states. High taxes and heavy regulations are not the prescription to achieve this goal, but don't tell governors like Newsom in California, Pritzker in Illinois, and Hochul in New York. They're too busy announcing how they're going to resist any Trump policies, and they're going to defend all the illegal immigrants. Finally, Matt Gaetz withdrew as candidate for Attorney General. This had to happen. He was on the Hill yesterday, And I'm sure he got the news that there weren't sufficient votes. And I've said this many times, when a nominee gets down to 48 people supporting him, you know he's not going to win, and then that number drops down in the low 30s, simply because nobody wants to be the one that cast the vote to beat him. But then nobody wants to be saddled with having said they voted for Matt Gaetz. And I think the new choice is a better choice. She has prosecutorial experience. She's been a good lawyer. Well, this has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.